You sort of made your mark by building shopping malls like the Grove. What is it that made the Grove and other shopping malls like some of the highest sales per square foot of any retail center?
Well, honestly, John, it starts with not building a mall, and they're outdoor. They reflect how people live. We try to transport people to a better time and place and make people happy. And the premise of our company for the last 35 years has been enriching lives. And so when you ask anybody in our company, what do? Do you build shopping centers or malls or hotels or whatnot? We say, no, we build things that enrich lives. And that gives us a really big platform to do a lot of things that if you pigeonhole yourself into saying, I'm going to build a mall or a shopping center, you wouldn't be giving people permission to put a trolley in the middle of it, right? Because it wouldn't make any sense to do that. But when you're trying to enrich lives, you get permission to do these things. So we've tapped into creating great experiences, and a lot of it, very honestly, is influenced by what all of you do here. Is we've taken so many cues and lessons from the entertainment industry, even back to the very simple premise of the old studios and the gates. To me, the gates are all about, as you go through those gates, you're transported to a magical land where magic can happen. And even the first renditions of the Grove very much had a gate like a movie studio to give it that kind of thinking. But, and listen, we tap into how people live their life. We want to make it really fun and happy and safe. And then by chance, if they shop or dine with us, great. And thank God they do.
And so a lot of people in this room, entertainment industry, it's not doing so well in L.A. I guess what would L.A. be like without the entertainment industry, and how threatened is it?
Well, I'll give you my perspective on it, and probably it's a little bit too unvarnished, but our leaders...
Oh, don't,
No, but I mean, it really angers me because our leadership, citywide, statewide, have an arrogance to them that they seem to think that since the entertainment industry was born here and built here, that they don't need to attend to it and it will just stay here. But that's not the reality. And the state of California and the city of Los Angeles has to fight for our businesses. They have to have their back. And they have to be competitive, above the line and below the line. And what we see happening now throughout the city and the state, below the line is getting destroyed. And there is no reason, if we're the fourth largest economy in the world, why can't we be competitive with New Jersey, with Atlanta, with London, with Canada? My son's in the industry, and he was just in New Orleans because of the credits that are in New Orleans. So I think what we have to do is fight to keep you here.
So tax credits, is that the solution, or how do you...
It starts with attitude. It starts with attitude of leadership saying this industry is important, we're not going to lose it. And I want to sit down with all the people that are influential and understand it, above and below the line, and tell me what you need to stay here. Now, maybe you don't need to meet it dollar for dollar, because I would guess that most of you that are in the industry, you'll pay a little bit more to produce something here if you get to go home at night and not have to be on the road and away from your family, right? But you got to be competitive. And whether it's tax credits, whether it's expediting permits, making it less friction to film here, all of those kind of things, I think there's probably dozens of things that matter. But it certainly has to be financially competitive. And I was asked earlier about, when I did your radio show earlier, about should there be tariffs on foreign films. I don't think so, because I think we can be competitive. Why do we need to penalize somebody rather than be competitive?
San Francisco has AI booming. What has LA got that's, a future for AI? I mean, a future for the city and the economy here.
Homeless. We seem to control that group. I was just in San Francisco last night. I mean, the great thing about San Francisco now is what you're just saying. And that city, because of their new mayor, is really starting to turn the corner. Dan Lurie is doing a great job. And And they've got AI that's filling office buildings back up, which is terrific. We've got the entertainment industry. Nobody else has that. We've got the smartest, most innovative people in the world here. Let's build up on that. And let's start bringing jobs back into LA in order to do that. So we've got a lot of great things in Los Angeles. Best city in the world, no doubt. And we've got to recognize some things that we've really got to change in order to support families, support businesses, small businesses, and get back on the right trajectory here. And we can do it. I've got confidence that it can be done.
So big issue in not just LA, but California is cost of housing. How do you get that down? How do you make this an affordable place to own a house?
Affordability is incredibly important. It's ridiculous what's happening here. Statewide and citywide, 40% of the cost of housing is regulations. You got to get rid of the bureaucracies, get rid of the layers. As a company that takes great pride in being LA-based, we no longer build within the city of Los Angeles because of the unpredictability, the cost of doing it, the multiple layers of bureaucracy that you have to go through for approvals. And I made that decision long before I ever ran for office. And so what people need to understand, what leadership needs to understand is money is going to travel in directions that has the less friction to it, the less risk to it. And LA is redline now because of the fires, because of the homeless problem, because of the crime problem. Find a crane in LA. In 10 years, the lowest amount of housing is now. In 10 years. There was an article in the LA Times about it last week. Because of overregulation. There's no reason for that. It's wrong and it's sad. You can change that. You cut through the red tape. Cities and states have done it. I mean, this isn't any big, heavy lift or any great genius idea, but you can do it and bring that back in. We shouldn't be having industries have to drive 2 hours for people to get home and 2 hours back. And you can't do that. So it can be changed.
So we opened this with the fire rerun. Can you talk about that January 7th, what you were doing, walk through your day and what happened to your properties?
My birthday.
Yeah.
We were together as a family at our home in Brentwood. We were coming together. All of our kids, thank God, all live close. I have 4 children from 35 to 25, and we're a very close family. So we were sort of together that day in and out of the house. But as we were seeing this unfold, my daughter has a home in the Palisades. My son had a home in the Palisades. She wants to go back, start getting stuff out. My son wanted to get back to his house. I was worried about that. You know, I told him, I really don't want you on the road. I don't want you getting caught. I don't know how bad this thing's going to be. As it turned out, we were at then dinner at our house. My wife really wanted to get out. Brentwood was now being evacuated. I was sort of stubborn and wanted to stay and have dinner with the family, but power went out. My wife said, that's a sign from God. Let's go. And as a family, we did move out of the area. And one of our senior people, a guy named Banyan Hutter, was embedded in the command post. And we were down at we have a home down in Newport Beach, and called me about 9 o'clock or so and said, your daughter's house is on fire. Ran out of water. I said, Banyan, what are you talking about? Second largest city in the world. He said, I'm telling you, I'm standing right here. No water in the fire hydrants. House is fully engulfed. So the news was on, and it was Alex Michelson at the time, and I texted Alex, and I said, you got to start reporting this. This is insanity out there. And he said, would you come on the air? And I started reporting it. And Banyan was giving me live feeds of what was happening. And then we lost our son's house. And then we lost our home in Malibu. And what remained standing was Palisades Village that we had built. I don't know if any of you have been out there. And here's the thing that's critically important. And we had learned a lot when we built the Miramar up in Montecito because there was a fire at the time we were under construction. And we were just in framing, and we asked the question, which you reported on in your article. We asked the question, what should we do? And then we learned there's private firefighters, and they bring retardant, they bring their own water. And we also know, and rightfully so, fire agencies, they're going to first respond to homes, as they should, and not commercial buildings. So we said, okay, it just makes good sense. Let's protect ourselves, free up resources of the city or the county to protect homes. And so we staged all of that up in Montecito. Now, fortunately, we didn't have to use it. We used the retardant as the fire got closer, but we didn't get caught on fire. So we had a playbook that was designed for the Palisades. We built the Palisades without any combustible materials. What looks like wood is actually concrete. We knew we were building in a fire area that had a potential. And we had this plan. And so when the wind warnings came out, catastrophic, life-threatening winds, boom, we staged. And we had our firefighters there 2 days before, the water trucks, and the fire retardant. And when the fire came at us, we were able to save the village and everybody on our block and everybody across the street, because LA Fire was just so spread out. And actually, sadly, because they're so underfunded, we started loaning them equipment. And but anyway, so we survived it, and now we're getting it prepared to reopen.
And when you went on TV that night, you were quick to say, this looks like a third world country, total mismanagement,
Yep.
lack of leadership.
Yep.
Went on the attack, and
I didn't go on the attack. I was honest.
Okay.
I think honest. You know, some people think I'm attacking Karen Bass. I'm not attacking Karen Bass. I'm saying what's the facts are. And now we know it. It's in black and white. I don't know how many people have had a chance to read the after action report that came out.
There was, published yesterday, LA Fire Department.
Right. This is an independent report. Massive systematic failures. It says in that report, when you read it, basically, the fire could have been prevented, which I knew from the beginning. The fire that had started a week before by this crazy person was not properly put out. It rekindled. And the fire department did not redeploy, which they could have. And they didn't call in, when the fire started taking off, they didn't call in aircraft. And the report says clearly, the winds were not bad enough to prevent the aircraft from coming in, but they weren't called. Can you imagine the failures? In addition to the reservoir being empty, you can even forget about that because you could have put the fire out. You wouldn't even needed the stupidity of the head of DWP to not have the reservoir full. So I thought it was so interesting yesterday, for the mayor to say he was angry and sad, and that's why he put out that statement. You know how many hundreds of thousands of people are angry and sad after yesterday? They lost their jobs, lost their homes, 11 people died. And you read that report and you think you're not going to be angry? Of course you are. So I think what we need to do now is read that report and have a solution for every one of those problems. So God forbid it never happens again. Let's not be reactive to it. Let's be proactive. And let's make sure that nobody else ever has to go through a situation like that. If there's an earthquake, there's a flood, there's a fire.
So you're considering a run for office next year. Mm-hmm. When are you going to decide? I don't know what you're going to decide.
When I decide.
When you decide, okay.
No, I'm
what are you waiting for?
Well, you know what I'm waiting for? I'm taking this very seriously. First and foremost, my number one priority right now, besides my family, is the work we're doing at Steadfast LA in getting people back into their communities, getting them back in their homes. And I don't want to be a candidate. I want to get this work done. I've got time to be a candidate. And we're starting to deliver free homes. You saw one up there from Samara, which is one of the greatest gifts in the world to me, that I can call somebody and say, we are going to bring you back to your community and give you a home free of charge. Those have been the most wonderful phone calls I've made in my life. And to try to get them in there before the holidays. There's the modular home. That's one of the things we're doing at Steadfast. In addition to rebuilding the parks, helping the schools get open, We've got an amazing, mighty team at Steadfast that's doing all of that. So that's going to be my focus. And then there's so many things happening in the state.
There's Prop 50. What's your position on that? Yes or no?
Yes.
Yes? And are you going to donate money?
You got to push back on Trump on this. You just got to. Yeah. It's a power grab. I hate the fact that we're sort of going around the independent commission that was established, but you don't have a choice. And so you got to lean into it, and I think it's going to win. And we all got to get out there and vote for it in November.
So what would make you want to be governor? Why would that be the choice that you make? And by the way, there was this survey that came out of like a betting odds that we had a slide of. Yeah, basically the bets were based on Rick Caruso, Alex Padilla, and Katie Porter. And you can see Katie Porter kind of took a dip there.
Why did Katie Porter take a dip?
She had a very unpleasant interview. She was.
I know. I'm being sarcastic.
I'm not sure what caused your name to spike up there. It must have been that Bloomberg article that.
Could have been. Could have been.
Alex Padilla, anyway, sort of steadied down. I don't know if that was when. I'm not sure what period this covers, but anyway, interesting that Rick is up as Katie is down. But Governor, why would you want to be governor?
Here's why I want to serve, and maybe people don't think this is true, but I want to tell you from the bottom of my heart. I was very lucky, which you reported on. I served 3 mayors in the city: Tom Bradley, Jim Hahn, and Dick Reardon. 2 Democrats, 1 Republican. And what you said in the article, I'll quote your writing, it might not be word for word. You said there were 3 mayors in the city that trusted Rick enough with complicated problems that he could fix them and help the city. That's basically what you wrote. That's a really, well, no, I mean.
No, that's accurate. Yeah.
It's accurate. Correct me if I'm wrong.
Solve problems, resolve disputes,
Right, but they trusted me
too.
to do that. And USC did too. I just find that incredibly liberating and exciting when you have the ability to go help people make decisions and not worry about getting reelected or reappointed. I don't want a career in politics. I want to do what I did for 3 mayors, but do it either in their seat or the governor's seat, where I can make some really good changes that make this area more livable, safer, cleaner, more cost-effective, building homes so people can actually build a life in a home. Those are such low-hanging fruit ideas that if you have executive skills and experience, you can make a massive difference. And so why not try to do that? And I loved public service. I think it's the most honorable thing to do. And if I get a chance to do it again, great. And if I don't, that's fine too. I tried last time for mayor and I didn't win. And I still have stayed engaged. I'm always going to give back to the state. I'm always going to give back to this city because this state and this city has given me everything, starting my business, my family, and everything we have. So why not? And help the entertainment industry that needs to have somebody out there fighting for you every day in government, because you shouldn't have to leave this state in order to go do the craft that you do so well. That's my 2 cents.
One of your biggest applause line here was when you said you supported Prop 50, which is basically a counter move to what Trump's doing in Texas and trying to do in other states. But one of the things Mayor Bass compared you to yesterday was Donald Trump. And, I mean, what do you do about the idea like businessman, developer, real estate guy? How do you overcome that in California?
It's sort of this empty go-to comment. It's just an empty go-to comment. And whatever. It's sort of a whatever. I mean, I'm the farthest thing from Donald Trump. I haven't met the guy. I never supported the guy. I campaigned against the guy. I think there's things that he's doing that are good and should be acknowledged, like shutting down the border. I think there's things that he's doing that are terrible. ICE raids and rounding up people that are working hard in our community that we need. And we should be talking about, I'll give you a difference here. She could talk about, I'm fighting him on the ICE raids. Okay, well, that's great. You should. And I am too. But don't have empty rhetoric. Come up with a solution. I've been demanding, let's have a path to citizenship. Let's have an amnesty program. If you're in this country and you work hard, you give back, you don't have a criminal record, you should have the ability to stay in this country. That's what I believe in. But I also will fight the hell out of making sure that we're protecting people that are working in the gas stations, that are working in the car washes, that are working in our stores, that are working in our restaurants, and trying to protect a family. That's why I raised $500,000 for a fund for people to go to their churches in order to get money to help support them, people that were scared to go to work. So I'm fully committed to that. And we can never give up our values. We can never give up our priorities in this city, in this state. And if he wants to challenge those, we're going to push back hard against him.